So a few months back, a movie called Stream was released in theaters, but previous to that, we had been contacted by the people behind it to react to the trailer, and we'd been contacted quite a few times for like every trailer they released to like react to this thing, which we did.
Yeah.
And the thing that got us interested, the most notable thing here outside of all of the the cast members, was that this was brought to us by the people who had worked on Terrifier 2 and 3, and Damien Leone was working on the special effects makeup. And the big thing about the Terrifier films is the gore, the kills, the on-screen violence that is practical. And so it was like, okay, like if nothing else, this movie should have some really great kills to report back upon, and if everything else sucks, at least that should be entertaining. So this came to the theater, and it was going to be pretty expensive, and it was pretty far from our house, and at that time neither of those things worked out for us, and we didn't go. And it finally released, and we got to watch it. And let's talk about it. So this has to do with a family who needs to get away from it all. There's some tensions between them because, one is a teenage daughter, and you know how that can be. And then the other is like a 10-year-old boy. 11? I think he's 11. Yeah, he's 11, and he's like addicted to video games, and he can't get off of his screen life, whatever. And so they're going to take a little vacation to a place that they used to go when they were kids, and stay in this hotel, get away from it all, disconnect. It has no Wi-Fi, whatever. They get in there, and then they find out that they are victims of this stream where people are going to watch them be murdered by these 4 killers who are hired by this group of people to, kill them, and whoever is the final survivor is the winner. Very like Running Man-ish kind of idea, right? It's been done plenty of times. Let's just cut to the chase. I thought this was absolutely terrible. I didn't like pretty much anything about it. It has a ton of familiar faces, which does not mean shit to me. In fact, it's meaning less and less to me as the genre continues on, with putting a bunch of like recognizable names in movies for 4 seconds to kind of trick an audience of avid fans into watching your shit. Like, so you have David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown. He's one of the killers in this. I can't really distinguish between his performance in this versus Art the Clown. He's Art the Clown in this as well, but with a different outfit on. So I didn't care for that at all, and I really didn't like how any of like the cameos were handled, because they're like, oh, Tim Curry and Tony Todd and all these people's names like were listed and were shown in the trailer and this and that. They might have shown more of them in the trailer than they're in the actual fucking movie. Some of them show up in the credits of the movie, literally. So you're like, okay, so you brought me in for that, and they're not even here. That's pretty fucking lame. As far as like the movie goes, and putting aside like the named actors, I don't even care. If the movie was entertaining, it had good characters, it had good like memorable kills.
Yeah.
That was probably the most shocking thing to me from this film, is that while there's a couple decent kills that are on screen, I would say most of them are not memorable and are off screen or are really uninventive and aren't all that graphic and aren't all that interesting, and that is the main reason I was here. So I don't know, man. I really didn't like the characters. I didn't like the story. I didn't like how anything played out. I didn't like I have literally like nothing positive to say about the film.
Yeah, it's a shame. I also didn't like it. I feel like I pretty much echo everything that you said. I think that definitely the biggest issue is that I wasn't feeling any of the characters like connecting with them and the story. I think like the primary relationship that we spend time with is this father-son relationship, and I do like them together, but there's just a lot of things that happen with other characters or other family members that either don't make sense to me or just seem kind of lame in general. Yeah, it was tough. There's as far as like the kills go, I thought that they looked all right. I think that the effects were what you would expect, but I do agree that they're not necessarily like super memorable, which is something. There's one kill that I liked, like the setup of, that I think is memorable, but the rest of them were pretty, like run of the mill, I suppose.
Yeah.
I also was very confused about one aspect of the story that involves, I can't really say without spoilers, but there's a character that does something kind of towards the end that's supposed to be like a twist, and I was very confused about like how that worked, and just, I don't know, it kind of seemed to come out of nowhere, and I don't think that the surprise twist factor really landed, because it ended up making me feel more confused versus like betrayed, which is what I think the feeling was supposed to be. And yeah, I think that I didn't really like the way anything looked as far as like the film itself goes. And to me, like when there's a lot of these actors and actresses that are put into films, I definitely worry that it's like I don't know how much the budget goes towards those people, so I'm not going to say that all the money goes towards the legacy actors, but what I wonder is like how much is being spent to get the like recognizable faces, and then that's being kind of cut from maybe other areas of the film, like how it looks, and I don't know. It just wasn't a hit for me at all. I think it was too long, too, which, when you're not enjoying a film, we've talked about this before. If you don't like a film and it's already long, then you're like, I really felt like it was too long. But I truthfully did feel like there's too much, like, not filler, but just kind of meaningless things that happen. And I think
film's over 2 hours long.
Yeah, you could have easily made it a 90-minute film, and I think that would have probably made it more exciting, too, because we get to, like, the explanation of the game, like, halfway through the film.
Yeah,
and
over
I think
an
that's a
hour
little
before we
too
get
long
to it.
to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've seen the trailer, like, you do know what's going to happen, but the characters don't really find out what's going on until halfway through. And so, yeah, I just think that kind of messed up the pacing and everything. And
if you're used to the pacing of 90-minute films, by the time they get to the main plot point of the film, which is that they are contestants on some streaming game show type of thing, you feel like you're towards the end of the movie by the time that happens, because it happens at like an hour and hour 5 minutes in. You're like, holy, because we looked. I was like, we're just now getting to this? I thought this movie was going to end soon.
Right.
So clearly now we're just like beginning.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did it take this long to get to the point when everything that came before wasn't interesting?
The other thing, too, for me is that, like, we've seen a ton of these type of movies kind of happening more recently with, like, live streams, and I get it. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that concept was really used at all in this. Like, it's just the bare bones of, like, that's why they're getting hunted and killed, is because they're on this, like, dark web show. Yeah. But there's not, like, an active, like,
participation.
Which is what makes things like messed up and like fucked up in that scenario, is that like you're seeing the other people like, betting or like, I don't know, like some aspect.
Like in Hostel Part 2,
yeah,
when you see the people who are betting on the American girls as they put them up, and you see like a grandfather who's with his kids at their birthday party or something. Yeah. This adds this layer of like, something that's super fucked up to it.
Right.
And we get no interaction really. We see a little tiny bit of it
at the very end. But that's to me not enough, because it's like I don't know, it's just kind of like a random like bookend of like, this is what was going on. But I think that could have somehow maybe been incorporated in the story throughout to keep you like, oh wow, like, there's a lot of people watching this, or whatever. And or even especially with live stream stuff, like we're not seeing the stream. We see some camera angles that are supposed to be like that's the stream, but, like with Deadstream, right? Like,
Yeah.
you see the comments coming
Yeah.
through. Like, that's also an aspect of, like, if you're going to use the live stream as a
Interactivity.
medium,
Yeah.
I think it's important to use it. And we even saw a movie recently, Red Rooms, which was released, I think, like a couple years ago, but we just saw it, right? Red Rooms? Red Room?
Yeah, Red Rooms.
Okay. And that involves
released
some
here
stuff with, like,
recently.
dark web things, and you see commentary within, like, the dark web.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, for me, I just think that that's a missed opportunity when you set up, like, the whole thing being a stream.
Sure. And yeah, we don't really explore any of the other characters and have them be cared about at all. When you have 2 hours, I feel like you could definitely
Totally.
explore the other characters in this. I mean, the best example of this type of story, it's not live streamed, but it's pretty similar-ish, is Squid Game. And
Oh, yeah.
how much you can really connect with so many different characters. Even if you have, like, one main central character, you can have these, like, devastating moments
Yeah.
with other characters. Watch the marble segment of episode 8 or something of Squid Game. I forget which episode that is.
Yeah, it's...
But the marble episode, whatever that one is.
Yeah, because when you have a
Devastating.
bunch of contestants, like, you should, as the viewer, even, like you said, even if there's a main character, main family or whatever, there should be a connection to all of the other characters you see, even if the plan is still to use them ultimately as just, like, you know, a body to kill.
Yeah.
But without that, it's kind of just like, you're just sort of waiting for everybody to die so that you can get to, like, the main people that need to, like, either live or die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
yeah,
that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm done.
It wasn't good for us.
Not at all.
Sorry.
Yeah. Not for me. All right. We'll see you in the comments.
Bye.
Bye.